Today we're gonna tackle how to make listing photos for Etsy, or more specifically, listing photos that actually convert. You see, on Etsy, having your items rank on the search page is great. It's awesome even if you have mastered the science or art of SEO on Etsy. But SEO is only half the battle, maybe even around 20% of the battle. What really matters is getting potential customers to click on your listing and getting them to stay there and convert into paying customers. This metric is what we call your conversion rate. And one of the biggest factors influencing your conversion rate is your listing photos. Yep, not quite your titles, not your tags. Sometimes your pricing, maybe a bit of your descriptions if your customer loves to read, but it's your photos that are a huge factor in making or breaking the sale. And today I'm gonna share my strategy on how to make listing photos that actually make sales. Hi, my name is Jai, graphic designer by day, Etsy seller by night. And if there's one thing I'm proud of with my Etsy shop, it's my listing photos. They say that a good conversion rate to aim for on Etsy is around 2 to 3%. But for my shop, I hover around 5% conversion rate for my overall inventory. That means that for every group of 20 people who visit my shop, at least one person makes a purchase, which I think isn't bad if I do say so myself. And what I believe has contributed to this success with my listings is what I'd like to call the sales page approach. In my career, I've designed way too many websites and sales pages than I can count. And for those who don't know what a sales page is, it is a single web page, also known as a landing page, that is designed to serve only one purpose, and that is to sell a product or a service, or to get people to sign up for an event, etc. Just one purpose. Everything on it, from the images to the copy, is carefully crafted to guide the visitor toward taking that one singular action. And if that visitor doesn't take that action, there are mechanics in place to at least make them do the next best thing, like opt for a cheaper product or sign up for the email newsletter. Now, let me show you an example of a great sales page. This is the HelloFresh website. You may have heard of it. Here we have what we call the hero section. So it contains compelling imagery that you can see gives an idea of what HelloFresh is, right? So you have the ingredients here and the finished meal here. So you know that they provide ingredients for healthy meals. It's clear, concise, and they have a catchy slogan to go with it. Then we scroll down and see Instagram posts of HelloFresh customers. This is what we call social proof, and it shows us that people, ordinary people, love this service. As we scroll down even more, we have a how it works section, which gives us a visually appealing, easy to digest summary of how the service works. And we get even more specific instructions down here for their app. Then here we get some benefits for their service, time saver, value for money, and cutting food waste. In a subtle way, it addresses the customer's pain points, like maybe you don't have the time, energy, or waste too much ingredients, right? So here's how they show that they can help, and it sells the service without being too in your face. Next, we have Your Box Your Way, where it shows customization options for this service, which is great because it shows people that they can choose their own meal plan. Then we have our call to action, which of course leads the customer to open an account or start ordering from HelloFresh. Next time you're browsing websites, you could try looking at their sales pages and see what kind of data and information they provide. You'll begin to notice patterns and recurring sections that these pages all have in common. Now on Etsy, your product page is essentially your sales page. But of course, unlike a full-on website, we're limited to how much we can direct the customer journey. Also, there are so many distractions around our product pages that can steal our customers' attention away, like showing our competitors' related products down there on the page. So that's why with our 10 listing photos and one video, we need to be able to convey to our customer that everything they're looking for is right there with us. And you might be thinking, 10 photos and a video seems like a lot of work. But don't worry, because I'll be giving you 14 listing photo ideas and showing you how to make these as templates using Canva that you can reuse for every listing where applicable. So no more starting from scratch every time you list a product. Now, these are specifically for digital products since that is what I sell. But even if you're selling print on demand or physical products, please stick around because there are principles here that you can use for any type of product. Oh, and for everyone who stays until the end, I have a special surprise in store for you. As a pro tip, before I create my listing photos, I actually have a product title in mind for it. And yes, all the 140 characters to put in the create a listing page. And this is important because we can kill two birds with one stone, because then we can head over to ChatGPT to help us create a product description. So let's just type in our title here and ask ChatGPT to create a description. Alright, and now we could use parts of this like how to use and the benefits section. So we could use this for our images later. Now let's dive into the different types of listing photos you need. Think of each photo as a section on a sales page, each serving a unique purpose to educate, build trust, and guide your customer toward that add to cart button. The first and most important image is our main thumbnail. The main image is like the hero section of your landing page. It's the first thing potential customers see when they're browsing Etsy. This thumbnail needs to grab attention instantly because it's your product's billboard. It should be clear, eye-catching, and highlight your product's standout features. Sometimes a gorgeous mockup can get the job done if you're selling something like a wedding invitation, but for digital products with more details and intricacies, having some informative text on the main image can mean the difference between a curious click and an intentional click. We're gonna use this reading journal template as an example, and it has several different unique pages that we can work with, so I think it's great for our test subject for today. Then we're gonna just go ahead and create a new design with a custom size of 2000 by 2000 pixels. Next, we're actually gonna go back to the Etsy platform and look for inspiration from similar products to ours. And the best ones to model after are the ones with Popular Now and bestseller badges. As we look through these listings, let's take note of the common colors and the information that they present. Okay, now that we have our inspiration, let's start designing. And first, I'm gonna go to look for a background for this template. And I want to try something with a wooden texture to emulate a desk. Next, I'm gonna go create a shape, a rectangle, and this is to serve as a marker for the top and bottom sections of this image. As you can see, while you're dragging the shape over, there's like this purple line that appears indicating the margins of the canvas. And the reason we're marking this out is because Etsy sometimes crops your thumbnail photo into a rectangle. And they used to have this option before where you can manually adjust the cropping of your thumbnail image, but now they just automatically crop out the top and bottom of the image if it is a square. So we just want to mark these out so that we know where to place our most important design elements. I saw that most of the digital planners use iPads to present their digital products. So I'm gonna do the same thing and use a tablet frame as a container for our planner template. And basically, we're just gonna play around with the design and layout and see how we could arrange these elements to provide as much information as we can. For this layout, I'm placing the graphic elements, which are the iPad frames, on the right side of this image. Then I'll be placing the uniquely designed pages in each frame to give sort of a sneak peek to clarify that this is a multi-page reading journal. Then on the left side, we're gonna add our text in a big bold font to make it clear. And I'm choosing this sans serif font that's easy to read, especially if the prospective buyer is browsing on their phone. I'm also gonna add some additional text that might help describe this product, such as the word digital, to emphasize that this could be used on a tablet and not necessarily need to be printed. So to give some depth to these iPad frames, I'm actually also gonna add some shadow graphics from the Elements tab. So just search that. And then we're gonna go send those to the back of the iPad frames. And I decided to change the color of our main text reading journal to help it stand out more on top of the wooden background. And I'm just gonna adjust it to the middle. I'm zooming in and out to see if it's still readable, even if it's being viewed in a small device. Then I'm gonna add some circles, one of which is gonna be the Canva logo to tell our audience that this is indeed a Canva template. And then on this other circle, I am gonna indicate how many pages this template has. I actually decided I was gonna keep the top and bottom rectangles just to help this thumbnail have more color. And since this bright red stands out against beige, which is a color that most of our competitors use, I decided to keep this in because our eyes would be more immediately drawn to the color red. And it would make sense because it is also a recurring color in our template. And I'm gonna be making two main thumbnail images to give us a couple of options for how to lay out our main image. And for this design, I'm gonna be putting the graphic elements, which are the iPads, on the bottom of the image, and then the text will be on top. And the reason we're doing this is because we're actually allowed to A/B test our products. So that means that we can create more than one listing for a single product. And this can help us learn what keywords and what type of images perform better. So for example, when I'm gonna go to create the listing for this product on the Etsy dashboard, one listing will have thumbnail number 1, and the second listing will have thumbnail number 2. And both listings will have different product titles and tags. This will allow us to cast a wider net and see what search phrases are used and what type of thumbnail image resonates better with our audience. As you can see, I'm still keeping some similar elements like the Canva logo and the indicator of how many pages there are. And of course, I'm gonna fix up the shadows as well. And on the top bar, I'm actually gonna add some additional text to help describe this product. And it's okay if this text gets cut out, if ever this image gets cropped into a rectangle, because this information is helpful but not exactly make or break, so that's okay. And I actually decided to rearrange this and move the text to the bottom because it seemed to make more sense there. Then of course we'll be moving everything slightly to the top. And there we have two thumbnail image options to test for this digital product. Next is the video. And a short video showcasing your product is like an interactive demo on a landing page. It allows customers to see your product in action, which can build more trust and shows the product's functionality or help buyers visualize how they'll use it. Handmade products and digital products actually benefit the most from having a video, though I still recommend having it for POD sellers. But for handmade, you can show your creative process, and that just adds more charm and likability to your shop. You don't even have to make a video for every single product. I mean, you could, but to save time, maybe do a video montage of you doing the thing like painting, sculpting, wiring, or whatever it is that you do to make your products. This is to show your potential customer that you are actually involved in the process. For digital products, we can use this opportunity to give a mini tutorial on how customers can customize stuff we sell, like templates. So for our video, we are just gonna record ourselves making edits to our reading journal template. I'm just changing up the fonts, changing up the sizes and the colors, just to show the capacity of how customizable our template is. And for Mac users, you can just use QuickTime Player and go to File and start screen recording. So 15 seconds is the minimum, but make sure to keep it under a minute. The second type of image is a mockup. And mockups place your product in a realistic setting, helping customers visualize the product in action. Remember, we're not just selling a product, but an improvement to their life. So having this contextualization makes your listing more relatable and aspirational, and it bridges the gap between the product and the customer's expectations. For digital products or printables, I think having 1 to 3 mockup photos is enough. But for physical products, of course, you would want more mockups to show like different angles or variations of the product. Etsy actually has a lot of built-in mockup images that we could use, and this is gonna be the easiest image to design because we can just use these existing gorgeous mockups and drag it onto our canvas. We're just gonna stretch it out as much as we can to cover the entire canvas, and we're gonna drag one of our page designs onto this mockup. The third image type we can use is an overview. And this type of image serves as the what you'll get section. Here we can provide an overlook at everything included in the product. This helps buyers know exactly what they're purchasing. And this is especially important if you're selling something like a multi-page document or a bundle. Because when customers see a clear and organized presentation of what they're getting, they're more confident in their decision, knowing there are no hidden surprises or missing components. So here I am basically just dragging and dropping every single page that we have for this product and arranging them in a way that is organized and easy to see. I am also using a simple gray background instead of a wooden background because for the rest of our image, it's actually more important to get our message across and have less visual elements to not distract our buyers. Then I'm gonna click on one of the images and go to edit to add a shadow effect. This will help add depth to the image and help these stand out from the background. As a shortcut, I'm gonna click on this paint roller icon, and this copies the shadow effect. Then I'm gonna click on another page to paste the shadow effect. I'll be doing this for all the page designs. Now, to kind of protect myself from people who might just zoom into this image and screenshot and copy the design, I'm gonna slightly rotate this entire group of images. Then I decided to add some interest to the background. I'm gonna search for another shadow image in the elements panel, and I'm gonna use this leaf type of background. The fourth image is kind of a continuation for the last one. Depending on the complexity of your product, you can even combine these two. But here we are highlighting the individual elements of your product. For instance, if you're selling a Canva template, you might want to showcase specific pages or sections. This detailed view helps buyers understand the full value of your product by breaking it down into manageable, digestible parts. So this is kind of like the last listing image but in written text format. And it's especially important for digital products because this is where the intricacies can actually justify the price and demonstrate the value of what you're offering. Here, I'm just gonna copy the iPad frame with our cover image on it from our thumbnail image and make it really big. To break up the monotony, I'm just gonna add a rectangle here in the background. And to help it not be so overpowering, I'm just gonna lower the opacity a bit. Then let's go to text and we're gonna title this page sections included. And I'm gonna place that to the right of the iPad image. Then we're gonna go add another text box. And this time we're gonna go ahead and enumerate all the different sections in this template, such as the cover page, books I borrowed, books I lent, etc. The fifth image is a benefits page or image. This type of image shifts the conversation from what the product is to what it does for the customer. By clearly listing the benefits such as saving time, enhancing productivity, or being easy to use or customize, you connect emotionally with the buyers. Because usually people who are buying digital products want to have a specific problem solved, whether that's a lack of time or even lack of design skill. So they're not just seeing features, but they're understanding how your product can improve their lives, which is a powerful motivator for conversion. For this image, I actually want to use another Canva mockup image, But this time it's not gonna consume the whole canvas. So I'm gonna set it off here to the side. And because we can't crop this mockup image, I'm just gonna create a rectangle shape on top of it in the same color as our background. Then I'm gonna add our title text, and we're gonna call this benefits or why you love this. Then I'm gonna add 3 circles and color them the same red. We're then gonna add the actual benefits to the right of these circles. So for example, let's say here, save time, customizable, and easy to use. Then we're gonna go to elements and search for icons that correspond to these bullet points. So for the first one, we could use a clock, then maybe a pencil for customizable, and the third one could be a light bulb. I wasn't really feeling this mockup image so much, so I decided to change it to another one that felt more organic. Depending on whether your digital product is customizable at all, this 6th type of image can show how buyers can personalize the product, whether it's editable text, color options, or layout adjustments. Demonstrating these possibilities adds perceived value. When customers see that they can tailor the product to their specific needs and aesthetic, it enhances their sense of ownership and even satisfaction. Like, they're included in the creation process of whatever it is you're selling. This personalization makes the product feel unique to them. So we're gonna be using this background image of the leafy shadows, and I'm gonna add one page design from our uploads. And again, I'm gonna add some shadows via the edit effects option to help it pop out. We'll call this listing image customize it. Then on our elements panel, we're gonna go to the shapes and choose this arrow shape. And we could choose where to add the starting point and the end point. We can also control the thickness of the line, and we're gonna shorten it a bit to add some room for the text that we're gonna add to the left side. I'm just gonna indicate some areas here where we could highlight the easy to customize elements in this page. Now we can add something like change font, edit contents, and change colors. To fill up the empty space on the bottom left, I decided to add the Canva logo again. But on the top and bottom of the logo, we're gonna add some text that says edit with Canva free account, and use the curve effect on the text so that it sort of wraps around the logo. The 7th image idea could be related to the 6th, which is a before and after of the digital product if they choose to make significant changes to the design. This image will be super simple. We're just gonna add an image of our original planner cover and an image of the planner cover in a significantly different style. This will show our customers the potential that our buyers can unlock by customizing this product. Then we're gonna add the words before and after on top of these images. On the bottom, again, we're gonna put editable with Canva free account. But you could definitely write something else in this section of the image if you want. For the 8th listing image idea, we can clarify what software or tools are needed to use your product. I have had several instances where there was some confusion with what program my digital templates were made with, even though it's indicated many times throughout the listing. Sometimes people have thought that my templates were made in Canva when they were actually made with Photoshop. Fortunately, for all my Photoshop templates, I make an equivalent version in Canva so I can just send those over. But for programs that don't really have an alternative, having this type of listing photo can help safeguard you from pain-in-the-butt customers who might want a refund because of this confusion. Here we're gonna add a mock-up image of a laptop or desktop. I decided to go with this image with an outdoorsy, naturey background, which we're just gonna enlarge to cover the entire canvas. Then going back to our original product file or tab on Canva, I'm just gonna go and take a screenshot of the entire screen or window. If you're a Mac user, you can use Command-Control-Shift-4 to manually select the area that you want to screenshot. Then back on our listing tab, we can just Control V to paste it in front of our image, then drag it so that it gets contained within the mockup image. I'm gonna lock this mockup temporarily because I'm gonna add the Canva logo and position it here to the left side of the laptop. And I also want to add some text, maybe on top of the laptop, and say something about how easy it is to customize the template on Canva. This ninth image type is actually one that I will always have in all my listings, and it is a how to use or instructions image for my product. It reassures buyers that they'll be able to use the product right away without that steep of a learning curve. By providing a simple step-by-step visual, this helps reduce buyer hesitation, making them feel more confident in their ability to use the product effectively. But even with this image, I like to double down and repeat the same instructions on the product description and on the download itself. On a new page, we're just gonna reuse our text and red rectangle combo, and we're just gonna title this image how to use the product or template. Then I'm gonna add a circle and duplicate this 3 times. These circles will serve as containers for our numbers, so 1 to 4, because we will just have 4 simple steps that our buyers can follow. Then to the right of these circles, we're gonna add text boxes and actually type out the instructions. It's best to keep them really simple and quick to read, but still comprehensive enough to give them specific step-by-step instructions on how buying this product will work on Etsy. For this image, there are 4 steps again and only 1 sentence per step. I'm just gonna adjust the circles a bit because they seem too big, and align the text to each corresponding number. And on the bottom, I'm gonna add another line of text that says, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, or something to that effect. Number 10 is a disclaimer or frequently asked questions type of image. And here I like to set clear expectations up front to help prevent misunderstanding. For example, for digital products, I like to reiterate that it is indeed digital. Now, this is more obvious in some types of products like social media templates or email templates. But in other cases like maybe party games or wedding invitations, it would be much more important to clarify that you are only selling a template and not actually printing it out and shipping it out to them. I also like to place here that there is a no reselling policy and that the template is for personal use only. That is unless you're doing a PLR or MRR type of thing, which is a whole different conversation. But anyway, you can also add frequently asked questions for like, do I need a Canva Pro account? How do I access my product? Etc. I basically duplicated the previous page and kept the design of the title of this image and changed that to important. And we're just gonna type that this is a digital product. No physical item will be shipped to you, and that you are not allowed to resell this product. To add some interest, I'm gonna add an alert icon and maybe a window pop-up type of graphic in the background. If you're going for a frequently asked questions type of page instead, I'm actually just gonna duplicate the design of our instructions image again, change the title to frequently asked questions, and keep the text boxes so we can keep the styling of these texts. And of course, we're gonna input our questions and answers. The question will be in bold and the answer will be in a regular font weight. A good number to keep in mind would be something like 3 to 5 questions so that the image isn't flooded with too much text, which might make the text too small to read on a mobile device. Because if a buyer is browsing on their mobile phone, the text might not be readable if you have too much of it. And I'm just gonna add some triangles to the left of our questions to serve as bullets. Okay, now for the next 4 listing image ideas, I would say that these are kind of lower priority, but depending on whether or not I didn't use up all 10 images yet, I would add 1 or 2 of these. So technically, number 11 is a social proof type of image. Here we can include screenshots of reviews or customer testimonials. It's simply meant to provide third-party validation and to show potential buyers that others have had positive experiences with your shop or products. This makes new customers feel more confident in their decision to purchase. And this is especially helpful for newer shops who don't have hundreds or thousands of reviews under their belt yet. Here, I'm going to be using this product's reviews as an example. But basically, if you have reviews in your shop, you can just screenshot these reviews, the 5-star reviews, of course, and paste them onto the canvas. Again, we're using Command Control Shift 4. And we're going to rearrange them in an interesting way. Let's take maybe 3 to 4 reviews from there and call this page Testimonials or What People Are Saying. If you're a new shop and don't have any reviews yet, you could maybe ask some friends or family members to text or DM you a testimonial, and you can screenshot that instead. This could help establish that maybe you've been selling your products outside of Etsy and that you still do get great feedback on your products. Lastly, I'm just gonna add a simple red border to the sides of this image. The 12th type of image could be an announcement of any current promotions or sales you have. By showcasing discounts or limited time offers, you can encourage potential buyers to act quickly rather than delaying their purchase. You could also tell them about if you offer a bigger discount if they buy a minimum number of items from your shop. All of these, by the way, you can set up in the marketing section of your seller dashboard. I'm just gonna type out limited time offer here on the top of the image and add our brand red as the text container. Then in big bold letters, we're gonna indicate the amount of the discount. So let's say 60% off for a minimum number of 3 items. I think the color red also adds a sense of urgency, but of course, if your brand colors aren't red, you'd be using your own colors. Make sure to add any other important details for this discount or offer, like how long it will be valid for, or if you're using a coupon code, of course, be sure to share that code as well. The 13th bonus image is what we call a cross-sell. So cross-selling related products is like the You Might Also Like section on the product page. But this time, we're in control. Here, we can give ourselves opportunities to increase our average order value by suggesting additional items that complement the main product. Or if this specific product is part of a bundle, you can show that this bundle exists and nudge the buyer to spend a bit more. Here, I've actually grabbed the layout of the 3 iPads from our second main thumbnail image, and I'm just gonna be resizing them to repurpose them in this canvas. And let's pretend that this product is part of a bundle. So of course, if you have the images of the other products included in this bundle, we're just gonna drag them onto the different frames. And let's add some shadow under the frames to make it look like they're sitting on an imaginary floor. For our text, we're gonna type out something like, "You might like," and then the name of the bundle. Let's just call this the Reader's Bundle. Then on the bottom, we're just gonna add some disclaimers like this bundle is not included in this listing and that the link to the bundle will be in the product description. Now the last listing image idea is an About Me section or image. Yes, we already have an About section in our shops, but because people don't often scroll down to that section in our shop pages, This time, we can really get in front of them and add a personal touch by sharing our stories or values. Let them know what makes you stand out from your competitors, like if you're selling handmade, are you using recyclable materials? Or maybe if you sell mom-focused printables, tell them that you're a mom too and that you use these printables at home. Maybe a portion of your sales go to a certain charity. Having a relatable and authentic message can differentiate your shop from others and foster a more loyal customer base. Finally, we're gonna use our red box and text combo again, and we're gonna add a rectangle image frame. On the right side, you could add your story, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just gonna use some placeholder text. Then end with a short thank you statement. Thank you for supporting my shop. And I wasn't really feeling this layout, so I just played around with it a bit. And ended up with this final layout. And of course, you're gonna add something like a selfie or a self-portrait or your process photo here. But for now, I'm just gonna be using one of Canva's free images. And there you have it, my complete guide to creating high-converting listing photos for Etsy. Now that was a lot of information to unpack, so feel free to come back to it anytime you need to relearn some stuff. Also, before I forget, please maintain consistent branding. So use the same fonts, colors, and design elements across all your photos to create a cohesive and memorable look. This will reinforce your shop's brand identity and makes your listings look more professional. Remember, these photos are like your salespeople. They're like the little elves that work for you 24/7 to grab attention and close the deal. So by structuring your listing photos like a high-converting sales page, you can create a seamless customer journey. Make sure that each image serves a purpose, addressing buyer concerns, highlighting benefits, and making it as easy as possible for them to say, yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. As for the surprise I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I'm actually going to provide this template that I have created free to whoever has been kind enough to make it this far. And it is a Canva template, so you can personalize and edit it to your heart's content. I will also be providing a cheat sheet, basically a text format of what I had just discussed today. The link to that will be in the description, so there you go. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and see you on the next video.